Welcome to Iona Speaks about Soaring Courageously, where I take you through an inspiring journey of courage and resilience through empowering conversations with amazing guests. In this podcast, I share my personal story of overcoming adversity and embracing the beautiful masterpiece of creation. Through a series of personal anecdotes, insightful reflections, and awe-inspiring conversations, there is an emphasis on the significance of self-belief with the willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. As someone who has faced numerous challenges, I know firsthand the importance of rising above fears and limitations, where I became a #1 best-selling author. My story underscores that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the determination to move forward despite of it. So join me for conversations that are riveting, aiming to inspire you to spread your wings and soar towards your dreams with unwavering conviction. Welcome to another episode of Iona Speaks about Soaring Courageously. So in this episode, I am so thankful and so happy to have with me Mona Silbert. Welcome, Mona.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
I know, this is so wonderful. So as we take executive ownership in our creative existence, we're able to rise above circumstances and situations and soar to great heights. So in Isaiah 37:31b, it says that we'll put roots down in your own soil and grow up and flourish. So I am so excited to have Mona with me to have a conversation about how she's been soaring courageously, how she's been able to put roots down in the soil that God has created for her, and she is now flourishing. Mona Silbert is a life and health coach who has been certified in bio-neuroemotion, who is passionate about human behavior and emotional intelligence. She believes in emotional coherence, in organizing thoughts to make better decisions, and in organizing the mind to resolve conflicts. When diagnosed with breast cancer over 14 years ago, she chose to move forward and improve her life in health and wellness. She is also a Reiki master, loves sports, meditation, and the need to spend time in nature. We are so connected and we don't even know it. While specializing in eating psychology, she doesn't believe in magic formulas or diets or coincidences, but rather in paying attention and balancing the energy of what surrounds us. Mona is dedicated to helping individuals deepen their self-awareness, navigate their emotions with clarity, and build more authentic, empowering relationships, both personally and professionally. So I am so excited to welcome Mona to this conversation. Hi, Mona.
Hi. Hi, thank you
And can
so
you tell
much.
everybody where you're coming from?
Well, I'm based in Argentina right now. I spent a few years living in California, and now I'm back in Argentina since 2020. Yeah, so very excited to be here, very thankful. Yeah, like you said at the beginning, I don't really believe in coincidence. I like to think that, we all have a path and that you meet people because there is a reason. So I know there must be a reason why our path have crossed and we are here today. So thank you so much for having me.
I am so blessed and so fortunate to have you. The only thing I can say in Spanish, not too much, I can say hola and cómo está.
Well, I mean, that's going to take you places. I mean, hola and cómo está? That's something. Yeah.
So I love your story. You're so brave and you're so courageous in the fact that you took a step of coming from your home native land and moving all the way to the United States.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us what it is that allows you in your practice, in your being, in your wholeness to soar courageously to new heights?
I think in my experience, I always believe that I am being guided, even when I'm not sure how that guidance is going to come. I have learned throughout the years to look at life in a way that at the end of the day, I want to feel that life is working for me, not against me.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I keep putting myself outside the comfort zone. Yeah, I think that's the main reason.
Well, that's an important reason.
Yeah.
The fact that you want life to be working for you
Yeah.
instead of staying stuck in
Yeah.
life situations that might be binding
Yeah.
and constricting and
Yeah.
restrict movement. So I love that. And I love also how you stated, I don't know if it was in your biography or in something else that I had read about you, you had said that your approach centers around creating safe and compassionate
Yeah.
spaces.
Yeah.
So, how do you do that?
Yeah. I have to say that I think the other reason that I have moved through life so courageously is because of my husband. I have a very supportive husband, but you know, I grew up in a home environment where now I can see that I didn't feel safe for many years. We're very used to, to nervous system regulation, and especially nowadays, we are talking
Mm-hmm.
more about that. But, after all these years of trying different tools and therapists, I have come to the conclusion that I didn't grow up on a safe environment. It doesn't matter really why. I'm an adult now, and I understand that my inner child, she didn't grow up in a really safe environment. I was always very on a survival mode and, always worried. I'm a Libra, so I was always like the mediator in my family, even when I was really, really young. So when I started my coaching business and I realized that I was kind of a channel to create a safe space for my own clients to
Mm-hmm.
come and talk and work around their own issues. That was such an important awareness for me because it translated into a way to kind of, when you come from a story that it's not the perfect story, I think that you get to heal yourself if you can do things differently in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I didn't grow up in a very safe environment for my nervous system, of course,
Sure,
but
sure.
then that took me here, right? And I get to work with people, being present and helping them
Mm.
to get their thoughts organized so they can leave the space feeling okay. Okay, life hasn't changed in these 45
Yeah,
minutes, but you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I have a different perspective. I have different
yes.
questions. So therefore, I can get different answers. And okay, everything it's going to be okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's been a lesson and a learning process how to
Mm-hmm.
create a safe space for each and every one of my clients. But that's my goal. That's what I do. That's what I'm passionate about. I never know what my client is going to bring into the session, and I think that's the most exciting part of being a coach, that you never
Right,
know.
right.
It's like putting a puzzle together every time I meet with one of my
Yeah,
clients. So yeah, I just try to build that environment that I did not have growing up. Yeah. And I feel very passionate and grateful to be able to do that for others.
that is wonderful. And if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like one of the things that you do to create that safe space, which you didn't have growing up, is to listen,
Yeah.
to allow yourself to listen to
Yeah.
what actually is happening in the space that you're about to be
Yeah.
offering. And when I said there's always different connections, and I believe 100%, just as you said earlier, there are no coincidences, and I don't believe things happen by chance, and there is some type of connection. And one of them happens to be that there is childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had experienced childhood trauma myself, and in that, I understand and recognize the power, the sensitivity, and the strength that comes from feeling safe.
It's
And
really
so
powerful.
it is. It is very powerful. And, you know, I love the fact that you chose to be certified in, let me see if I got it again, neuroemotion,
Yeah, bioneuroemotions. Yeah. Yeah.
bio-neuromotion.
Yeah.
And being certified in bio-neuromotion,
Yeah.
what does that actually mean?
Okay.
Because I've never
Yeah.
even heard of that term
Yeah.
before.
I think it's a term that in Spanish it's called bioneuroemoción, and it used to be called biodecodificación. So the idea is that our biology will express itself through the body, right? So we
Mm,
believe that our body's nature or natural state is health, right?
yes,
So we were
yes.
created to be healthy. In bioneuroemotions, we believed that whenever we are experiencing some symptoms in our body, some pain, little home accidents. Oh, I burned myself with the meal I was cooking, all those things that involve the body. We believed that there is a deep emotional root
Mm,
causing the body to express through some type of unbalanced and so forth. I'm going to be feeling some type of symptoms, right? So
right.
we don't believe in, excuse me, oh, okay, all I need to do is work around my emotions, but we do believe that you should be working on your emotional state while you are also taking care of your body with traditional medicine and however you decide that you want to take care of that symptom, right? It's like a
Yes, yes.
complement. Is yes, you go to the doctor,
Sure,
yes, you do
sure.
your lab results, your protocol, your, you know, whatever you need to do to be healthy. But at the same time, we pay attention to what's going on our emotional world, right?
Yeah,
Inside.
yeah. I love that. And you said it so beautifully in Spanish, which I could not replicate. Yeah, but I love the connection of where you said the body does have the capacity to
Yeah.
heal itself. And I'm a firm believer that we're created in the image and likeness of God.
Yeah.
And so, as God is perfect, we live in perfection.
Yeah.
Now, we have to learn how to get to that point sometimes because of what our body is experiencing through life situations.
Yeah.
So, I love that connection that takes place.
Yeah.
And that, to me, sounds like a tool
It is.
on how you soar courageously, how you walk in your bravery,
Yeah.
because you're acknowledging yourself and you're not avoiding pain. You're living through the pain
Yeah.
and conquering the pain.
Yeah, it's like we are using the pain and the
Hmm.
suffering that, of course, we all feel when our body is not in alignment, so it's not healthy. We are using that as a fuel, right? We're
Right.
pausing our life and we are paying attention and we are listening and we are making decisions in alignment with the life that we say we want to build, right? So whenever the
Yes.
body talks, the life itself will pause, right? Because whenever
Yes.
there is a health issue, we all know it takes a lot of your attention. It's going to
Hmm.
be requiring a lot of time, attention, money if you need to pay for your treatment. So it's not something that we get to ignore. When the body
No.
talks, the mind, listen.
Yeah.
And life itself will go at a
Mm-hmm.
different pace. So we use whatever is happening with the body to fuel ourselves to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
right? Integrating
Right.
our body into our own
Right.
healing process. So it's not just, oh, I'm just going to be healing inside. And then, no, it's
Mm.
like you put body and mind to work together to move forward, understanding, okay, but why am I going through this? Why?
Right.
What's the message behind this imbalance that I'm feeling and that I'm going through?
Right. And one of the taglines that I have is in my business, I'm a transformer of burnout into power.
Yeah.
And being able to look at burnout in a totally different perspective to the fact that burnout is the imbalance
Mm-hmm.
that happens within our multidimensional health
Mm-hmm.
because we are misaligned with our purpose. We might know what our purpose is, and we might have walked in our purpose well. However, now things have shifted and we have to shift with it.
Yeah.
So I love what you said when you said about how the body talks
Yeah.
and then the mind listens.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, in order for that to happen, the spirit has to reveal and the soul must respond.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I loved those pieces and that intersection that happened. And so as you are walking in your healing, when you're talking about how things happen in the body, and we talked earlier about how you didn't allow a life-threatening diagnosis
Yeah.
to crush you, to
Yeah.
push you down. Talk to us a little bit more about how you took that step to soar courageously, knowing that this is a diagnosis that is debilitating
Yeah.
and can kill.
Yeah. So I was 20 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was stage 3 or 4, so it was pretty aggressive. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember, picking up the results. I was just going through like an annual test. You just go once a year
Right.
to your OBGYN, and you get all these tests. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember I was working full time. I was going to law school, and I was working full time.
Mm.
And it was probably a Wednesday morning, and I was just like going from my home to court because I was working in court. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to pick this result. And when I got to my doctor's office, he opened up the door and he was like, are you here alone? And I'm like,
Mm.
I don't like that tone. But yes, I'm here
Mm-hmm.
alone because I'm just picking
Right.
up my
Right.
results, easy peasy. And he's like, okay, I need you to, step inside the office, sit down, we need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And when he told me that I had breast cancer, um, part of me was like, I already knew this. I knew this was
Mm.
coming. Like spirit, my soul, I don't know. A
Really?
part of me was like, I knew this was going to happen. I
So
already
what?
knew.
It wasn't a surprise. It didn't feel like it was a surprise to you.
It was a shock, but because at that point, my mom died when I was 17, right? So in those
Mm.
4 years, 3 years that I spent in between my mom's death and my diagnosis, I started to develop some type of, I don't know, new perspective where I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to make sense of everything that, I was going through.
Yeah.
And in the period that I took the lab test or whatever it was that my doctor prescribed and got the results, a few things happened. I remember one day I was watching TV, like National Geographic, and they
Uh-huh.
were like showing, it was like a show or something like that where they were talking about breast cancer. It was, I'm
Mm.
talking like 206, 207.
Right.
Okay. So it was a
Sure.
long time ago.
Sure.
We didn't have, social media like today. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
huh, this is so interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
I watched the whole show, right? And I was like,
Mm.
okay, all right. And then, I don't know, a friend of a friend told me that, her mom had breast cancer. So I started to pick up on that information like
Mm-hmm.
randomly. So when I went into my doctor's office and I got the results, It was like part of me was just confirming all those little signs. And it was a shock. And I remember he told me, okay, listen, you have breast cancer. And it was like something inside me was like, okay, but I'm not going to die from this. I don't care. This is not the way I'm
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah.
And at that point, I made that decision. How am I going to do this? I have no idea what's ahead of me. All I know is that I'm not dying from breast cancer. I'm sorry. And
Yeah.
that was the message that I was telling myself for the first couple of weeks. And it was just my inner dialogue. Like people, as they were knowing what I was going through, like my family, my friends, they were all freaking out. And I was just repeating myself and everyone around me. I was like, but it's okay. I'm not going to die from
Yeah.
breast cancer. And I was so sure that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that was, the beginning of my healing journey because I knew I didn't want to die from breast cancer.
Right. So you accepted the diagnosis, but
Yeah.
you didn't receive the diagnoses as a death sentence.
No.
And there's a scripture that says, this sickness is not unto death. And so you embodied that scripture and you began to think. There's another scripture that says, in the mind of the heart is how a man thinks. So how you felt
Yeah.
in your heart that this was not going to kill you or place you in a place that you were not ready to be,
Yeah.
or didn't accept to be, didn't receive to be, thank you, didn't receive to be, you continue to move forward with a positive mindset.
Yeah.
And not just a positive mindset, but also in a divine mindset that this is what your body was created for, to heal.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you said you were shocked by it, but yet you thought that it was always coming. And I look at it, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's almost that God was preparing you.
Exactly.
You were being prepared for this diagnosis, even though you didn't know you were.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah, I was being prepared. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I was
Yeah.
sure that I was not dying from breast cancer. But those 2 years where I went through chemotherapy and, surgeries and doctors and all those treatments, I was very mad at life.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
not all, rainbows and hearts flowing all
And I'm
around
so
me.
glad you said that.
I was mad. I was pissed. And at the end of my treatment, 2 years into my treatment, when my last chemotherapy session was over, I remember sitting down and I was mad. I was mad at life. I was mad at my friends. I was mad at God. I was mad because I was like, okay, I'm not dying from this. But at the end of the process, I was like, guys, this was too much for me. It's not fair. So I was really, really mad. And I always like to bring this up because I think that we tend to think that whenever we are going through a healing journey, everything is so peaceful and, so nice. And, we don't get mad.
So glad that you said that you were angry, at God, that you were mad. Because even though this diagnosis was not a surprise, because you were kind of being prepared for it,
Yeah.
but it was still a shock for you.
Yeah.
And you were still upset that it happened
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
And you were mad that God allowed it to happen to you. So, and the fact that, sometimes you go on a healing journey and people think it's supposed to be all, roses and calming and waterfalls. But that's not the reality of it. You're going to have those moments. You're going to have those days, maybe even those weeks.
Yeah.
So, I know, with being a survivor of a traumatic brain injury and having to deal with chronic pain, nerve pain in the head that was debilitating, I got mad at God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's okay. Yet it's what do we do after that? So what
Yeah.
did you do after that?
So after my treatment was done, I took some time off. I was hired to go work for a winter season on one of those programs like Work and Travel. So I asked my grandma for some money and I bought a ticket and I went into the interviews. I don't even know how I got to the interviews.
Yeah.
I think they were recruiting people from South America, and our manager, the lady that ended up being our manager, she was in Buenos Aires for, I think, 5 hours one day. And I got an email and I was like, do you want to come for an interview? And I was like, yeah, I'm going. And I remember I was bald, so I was taking my wig with me. And I got the interview, and there were a lot of, people there, young people. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to get this job. So I went home. I stopped thinking about that for 5 days. I totally forgot about that. And then I received an email and she was like, okay, you're hired. You start in a month. And I was like, damn, I guess that's my new adventure. Now I need to tell my dad. So I remember I bought the ticket and it was like a Sunday afternoon. And I was like, Dad, I have to tell you something. And he's like, what now? Because he's used to me doing crazy things. And he's like, what is it now? And I'm like, please don't freak out, but I'm going to go to Lake Tahoe, that's in California, for 4 or 5 months. I'll be working at a ski resort in the middle of the mountain, and I'm leaving in 3 days. And he's like, what? So I packed my bags and I was like, okay, I'm just going. I honestly had no idea where I was going, who I was going with. I remember our manager, she put us in a WhatsApp group or something with other Argentinians that were hired. And we all ended up renting a house. So I just took the plane and I was like, okay, I guess this is my new adventure. And I took some time off from everyone that I knew and everything, right? And my own experience. And I went to live to the mountains. Up to that point, I've never been like a winter person. I've never done any snow sports. I was just starting to grow my hair. So I was having a major image crisis, if that makes sense, because I was not feeling comfortable on my own skin, on my own body. But yeah, I just took the chance and went to work for this ski resort. And I spent 5 months in the mountains with people that I didn't know, working with kids at a ski resort. Everything was outside of my comfort zone. The language, the kids, the winter, everything was outside of my comfort zone. But that really helped me to start my own healing journey, because life was showing me another reality. It was showing me new possibilities, and it was showing me that it's okay, but what happened, happened. And that's in the past now. So you get to decide what type of future you want to build from now on.
Yeah, that is so powerful. I loved that you allowed yourself to step into a bold space, to do something that you had never done before, to go someplace that you had never been, yet you trusted that this was a thing that you needed to do, that was part of your healing journey. And it took you to a place where you said you love nature, being in nature. Now you're out there in the mountains.
Yeah. No, it
Snow.
was like a blessing in disguise because, snow, beautiful place. The lake was right there. I mean, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
It was. If I weren't to if I wouldn't feel that mad or so mad at everything and everyone, I would probably never took that opportunity to go and travel and work someplace else. So there is beauty in every emotion that we feel.
Yes.
Right? We need to feel our emotions because the emotions have information, right?
Yes.
We tend to want to block or ignore whenever we feel bad or mad or sad or angry at someone.
We
And
can't.
that's part of our healing journey, feeling the
Yeah.
negative emotions. So yeah.
Yeah. And I love that too. We were created to feel. We were created to receive. So feeling every emotion, the hurt, the sadness, the pain, the
Yeah.
suffering, the anger, the
Yeah.
disturbance, the doubt, the fear. Being
Yeah.
able to feel all of those emotions, I think makes us whole and
Yeah.
strengthens us. And I love how you chose to overcome fear by even leading in the posture of love and in the posture of your inner strength and in through the guidance of the divinity.
Yeah.
So this is so beautiful, and I am so blessed and honored that you allowed yourself to go on that journey, because going on that journey, I think, led you to how you show up for others.
Yeah.
For example, you want people to understand the brevity of emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you help someone? If you were to encourage someone now, how would you encourage them about moving through their emotional intelligence?
Yeah, so I think what we fear the most is one, we're going to get stuck in a negative emotion. And I'm just quoting, right? There are no negative emotions, but we tend to
Yeah.
think that there are. So I think as human beings, we tend to want to distance ourselves from our own emotions because one, we think that we're going to get stuck. So if I feel my sadness, I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck and then I'll get depressed, right? Especially if I have a family member or someone close to me had gone through depression, or even
Yeah.
if I have gone through depression, right? I don't want to go
Sure.
back there.
Sure.
So we tend to think that if I allow myself to be sad, to be frustrated, to be mad at someone, I will probably stay stuck on those emotions. And because we don't like those emotions, because they're very uncomfortable, we don't want to feel them. So we try to, ignore them and avoid them. And we pretend like, oh, everything's fine, and like, I'm okay. And then
We lie.
we lie. And the second thing, I think we are very afraid of our own truth. So,
Yes.
because we
Yes.
don't know what to do with that information. So, if I allow myself to feel, let's pretend one example, right? Let's say I'm mad at my friend for whatever reason, right? And I tend to think that, okay, I feel hurt. I don't want to feel hurt, but I feel hurt. But if I allow myself to feel hurt by my friend, then that means that I should not be friends with her anymore. That's our brain talking, right? Because we are
That's the
afraid of,
right.
okay, so, but if you realize something, then we need to do something with this information. So if I allow myself to feel sad and mad at my friend, two things might happen. The first one is I'm always going to be mad at her if I connect with my own sadness and madness. And also, my brain is telling me that if I discover that I really feel hurt because of what she just done, then I should not be friends with her anymore, right? Because that's my brain talking. You cannot be
Right.
friends with someone that hurts you. And then I started to feel very, you know, separated from myself because maybe I do love her and I could totally understand why she did what she did because I don't know, I love her and we're friends and we are human beings and maybe we had a talk and I really understood her and I want to, move forward. But then my brain is telling me, no, you should be mad forever. You should stop being friends with her, right? So going back to your question, if you're going through a period of time where you feel uncomfortable, because that's what our emotions usually take us to feel very uncomfortable, it
Right.
is okay to feel uncomfortable.
It
Nothing
is.
bad is going to happen. You don't have to do anything with the information that you are going to get if you allow yourself to connect with your own truth. You don't have
Yes.
to, if you realize that you hate your job, I always say the same example. Realizing that you don't like your job doesn't make you go and quit your job right away, right?
Right.
The same
Right.
happened with our emotional world. It is okay to go and see what's happening in there. Nobody's rushing you. You don't have to take, and make any decisions or take any nothing. You can be an observer of your
Yeah.
own internal world, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a beautiful way to interweave everything together. Because using that example, the emotions, what the head wants, the head can be confused by what the heart wants. Yet it has to be aligned with how the spirit moves as well. And so that comes into forgiveness because
Yeah.
something did hurt and there is pain and we have to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Yet our emotional intelligence, we have to understand that we can go deeper to find out what was the reasoning, what's
Yeah.
the root that wants us to hold on to this,
Yeah.
and how can we get past it. And maybe that relationship can be salvaged and mended, and maybe it cannot be.
Yeah.
Yet we just don't have to throw everything away
Exactly.
just in that one moment. We can take
Exactly.
the time
Yeah.
and allow that space and time to
Yeah.
move forward because healing can take place.
Yeah.
So that's great. You brought up so many things, and if we were to talk about all those different pieces,
Yeah.
this would probably turn into a 90-minute
I know.
podcast.
I know.
Yet this has been a wonderful conversation, and I definitely would love to have another conversation with you.
Of
But
course.
even before we close out this one, I would be remiss if I do not, as a fellow author, highlight the fact that you are an author too, and
Yeah.
you have a book out called
I
Time to Shine,
I know. Yeah.
a heart project.
Yeah, a hard project. It's been on my mind for many, many years. And yeah, I just released it on March 14th. And now we're working on translated the book into English
So
because,
wonderful.
I think that I wrote it from my heart. And every
Yeah.
time I talk about the book and my theory, and, people ask me, okay, but can I read it? And usually when I'm talking with the students at IIN, or they're like, okay, where do I buy it? And I'm like, oh, it's just in Spanish, but hold on, I'm working on it. So yeah, we're working on the translation, which is a big challenge because English is not my first language. So, I'm working with a translator, and, we sit down, we go through every word because I need to make sure that the meaning and, the voice, my voice, it's in the translation. I don't want, a simple translation where you copy paste and, Google does the translation. I want the book to have the same powerful effect that has in Spanish but in English. So we're working on that. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it hot off the press that it is going to happen.
Yeah.
There will be a
It's
translation in English,
yeah.
and those in Spanish, you already can get it. If you
Yeah.
can read Spanish, you already can read it. And maybe one day it'll even be an audible where you can listen to it.
You know what? Everyone keeps telling me the same thing. You need to do it on Audible and read it yourself. And because my clients, when they read it, they're like, I read this book listening to you in my mind, right? They're so used to coming to session with me, and we do only audio on our sessions. So they
Sure.
told me, I read this book as if you were reading it to me. So that's another project, Yana. You have it right there.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Well, it has been such a blessing, and I have enjoyed having this conversation with you. It's
Yeah.
been so life giving, it has been nurturing, and it has been
Thank you.
nourishing.
Thank you so
So,
much.
um, I want to thank you. I want to thank the listeners and encourage the listeners that, listen to your body. Allow yourself that time to listen to your body. Allow yourself that space to respond to your soul and to allow the spirit inside of you, whether it's Holy Spirit, whether it's intuition, to reveal to you the path that you are supposed to be taking, the journey that you are supposed to be on. This has been a rewarding conversation, an insightful conversation. And as a transformer of burnout into power, what I say to everyone is be intentional about who you are. Walk in the pathway that God has created for you to walk in and be strengthened. And know that no matter what diagnoses might come to you, no matter what situation, pain, or suffering you might experience, that is not your end. This sickness is not unto death. And be bold and be brave to walk in the sickness, to walk in the situation, to honor your emotions, to move courageously, and to keep soaring courageously.
Yeah.
Thank you, and I'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by Ronald S. Rudisil and Iona R. Rudisil. Each episode of this podcast will be posted in video version on our YouTube channel, Iona Speaks About Soaring Courageously. You can connect with me on social media. On Instagram, it's IonaSPKS_Soaring Courageously. And on both LinkedIn and Facebook, it's Iona R. Rudisil. If you like this podcast, tell a friend, tell your family, and please like, rate, review, and subscribe. And most of all, keep soaring courageously.